Alright guys, welcome back. Let's take a look at those awesome cheese and bacon fries that we had in the oven. Ooh, that's hot. Oh god. See how the cheese is all nice and melty and, oh yeah. Oh yeah. These look delicious. But like I said with the pigs in a blanket, I'm going to put these back in the oven so they can stay warm. And we're going to move on to our next dish, which is nachos. Fully loaded with everything you can ask for. Put those back. I'm just going to lower this so it doesn't get too hot. So, what's the one thing you need with every nacho? Yes? Chips. That's right. Good job out there in TV land. So I need some chips. Great, or a good friend. Thank you. Alright, so we just have some chips. I mean, really, it's up to you. These just happen to look like this. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the ones that are in a triangle, or even those ones that you can scoop with. But you know, really, it's just tortilla chips, it's nachos, it's all the same. So I'm just going to put those there. With this, we're going to need a baking sheet, just like everything else, and we're cooking with cheese. So if anybody has ever cooked with cheese, especially in the oven, you know that if it gets cooked onto something, it can be a pain to get off. So, one thing I always do when I'm making nachos or cooking in cheese in general is to use tinfoil, because one, that will protect your your baking sheet, but also it just makes things a lot easier excuse me, when you're cooking, because then the cheese doesn't really stick. If you spray the bottom, which is what I always do, it just slides right off. So I'm just going to take a quick second to spray this so all of our cheese doesn't get stuck to the pan. So like I said before, we need our nachos and our chips. Let's go ahead and put those on here. Now I love nachos, and one way I always do it is I take the chips and I spread them evenly onto the baking sheet. And what I do is I make layers. I'll put the cheese, and we actually have some no-bean chili, which is going to go on here because I hate beans, and that's gross. But we're going to put some cheese. At the very end, we're going to put some green onions on there. But let's go ahead and put some cheese on here right now. And we're going to use this right here. This is just cheddar jack. For those of you who don't know, that's a mix of cheddar cheese and Monterey Jack. I like mixes of cheese because it's just there's a lot more stuff going on instead of just one cheese. So let's go ahead, and they're nachos, and we all like nachos cheesy. So let's go wild. I'll just put a lot. We're talking a lot of cheese. That was a lot of cheese I just grabbed. So this looks delicious and cheesy. Like I said, it's not just cheese we're putting on here. We're going to put some no-bean chili. And for those of you who don't know what chili is, it's just, if you ever had a manwich or a sloppy joe, looks a little something like this. As you can see, there's pieces of meat in there, there's a lot of sauce, there's a lot of flavor. It's really good. I like it a lot. Like I said before, I don't like beans in my chili. I'm not a fan of beans. So for those of you who have been turned off by chili in the past because of the beans, you should know that there is chili out there that doesn't have beans, and it's just as good. You said the word beans a lot, so it's pretty legit. Anyway, we're just going to put a little bit on here because these chips can get soggy if there's too much liquid on them. So just a little bit to get baked in there, whatever. It's going to be resting pretty much on the cheese, so it's not going to be getting in the way of the chip. But when the nachos are done in the oven, we're going to add more of this chili on it, and then we're going to put some green onions. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these, and you know what? We might actually have to move on. We got to make some room in the oven for the nachos. So we're just going to let these go in here, and the same thing that we did with the fries, we're just going to put them in here to let the cheese melt. Let the chips get nice and hot. So we're going to let that do its thing, and with the power of television, we'll be seeing you in 1 second with some finished nachos. Alright guys, welcome back. Our nachos are just about done in the oven, so let's take a look. Our bun in the oven. It's not a bun, it's nachos. Here they are. As you can see, the cheese is nice and melty and delicious. And like I said before, we're going to add some more of this no-bean chili on here because what's nachos without some meat? Delicious. camera guys have the hiccups. And also we're going to add some cheese just to top it off. I mean, it's not really melted like the rest of the stuff, but hey, it makes it look pretty. It adds a little bit more cheese and covers up this chili here. So just a little bit. You know, all the stuff is hot, so this cheese is going to melt a little bit. But like I said before, this looks all fine and dandy, but if you guys know anything about food, it's half the time people eat with their eyes before they eat with their stomachs. So you got to make sure food looks good. And one good thing to do when you are making food is have a contrast of colors that makes everything look just delicious. Here we have a lot of yellows. The corn chips are kind of yellow. There's the brownish tint of the chili. And here we have some green onions. And we're just going to add those on top, and it's really going to make everything kind of stand out. So let's take a look after we sprinkle some of these on. Oh yeah, you can already tell. Ooh, don't touch that. It is hot. And as you can see, the green just kind of pops out at you. It's because of all these other colors that are the exact opposite of the color green. But not only does it make it look good, it also makes it taste delicious. So this was our nachos, and we're going to throw these back into the oven because along with everything else, we want to keep it warm when we have our ultimate meal at the end. But what we're going to do is we're going to get dessert ready right after this commercial break. So guys, stay tuned for some deep fried Oreos. They are delicious. I know if you've never had them before, you will fall in love. So please stay tuned. I guarantee you this will be the best part of the show.